what's up everybody? Rob Swanson here. Hey, in this video, what I want to do is I want to talk about the question that gets asked all the time in social media as a real estate investor. What's better, margin or volume?
I'm Rob Swanson. School got me a paycheck. Real estate investing made me millions. Now, I show people exactly how I did it. Join me as I take you beyond the 401k and into real freedom.
What's better, margin or volume? In this video, we're going to answer that question, and to do it, I'm going to push it through the 8 rules that I have for making investment decisions. Now, I use these rules whether I'm making decisions in my real estate investing business, in other businesses that I own or acquire, or just investment strategies in general, okay? So we're going to go through the 8 and then we're going to circle it back and we're going to answer the question, what's better, margin or volume? Now the first thing that I like to look at and look for in any business is the business simple? Because I've found that over the years, if I can keep it simple, not only I, but somebody else will do the thing that needs to be done, right? Simple is the number one rule that I look for in investments. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have to learn something. That doesn't mean that you don't have to get knowledge. That doesn't mean that you don't have to gain experience to become a pro or an expert at it. What it means is that in general, the overall tasks required to be successful are relatively simple. You can understand it at a basic level. Now, the second thing that I look for is then that simplicity can be systematized. Because if I can't build a system around it, I'm chained to it constantly. And I'm not interested in being chained to it. I want to build a system so that other people, including myself at times, then will do it. See, a simple business that has a system built around it can then scale. But you always have to ask the question, can it scale? And here, let me give you the definition of scale, because this is important. Scale is a significant increase in the output, what you get out of the business, with little to no increase of input. Here's what that means. Once you've got a simple business and build a system around it, it doesn't take much to turn some levers and get significantly more, okay? So scale is the number 3 thing that I look for in a business. Can it be scaled? If it cannot be scaled, I'm generally not interested in it, even if, number 4, margin. Even if there's margin, if I can't scale it, I'm probably not interested in it. Now, we're gonna come back to these 2 in a couple of minutes. I want to go through the rest of these quick and just give you an overview of how I think about things and what I'm looking for in a business. Beyond margin, and I'm talking big margin, right? I'm talking you do the effort, you build the system, the business does its thing, and there's enough profit to make it worthwhile and make it meaningful. Now, I want to take margin then and move that right into cash flow, because it's good to make margin, it's good to make bigger profits, but oftentimes real estate investors or business people get stuck in that transactional trap. And I want you to move out of the transactional trap to number 5, from number 4 to number 5, and that is cash flow. So the margin that you create should lead you to cash flow. If the margin you're creating is not leading you to cash flow, in my estimation, that's a no-win deal. I want to be creating cash flow. Now, real estate does that, right? Real estate is high margin. Real estate does produce cash flow. And so if you're doing the high margin activities that ultimately then lead you to cash flow, what you're doing is you're setting yourself up to step off the rat race. You're setting yourself up to step off that wheel and put yourself in a position to reap the rewards of all the hard work you're doing today. Now, next, beyond cash flows, I evaluate risk. if you know how to do real estate investing right, whether for an active investment or for a passive investment, it's really low risk. There's just a handful of things that you need to learn how to evaluate properly, and real estate investing is a pretty low risk venture. Now, one of the reasons real estate investing is a lower to low risk venture is because you have control. You can control so many aspects of that investment. Now, that's an entirely different video all in and of itself, talking about the various ways that you can control a real estate investment and ebb and flow based on the deal, based on the opportunity, based on the market, based on your personal needs. Risk is low, especially when you have the knowledge and know how to control it. Now, from risk, we look at headache factor, and this is just simply an internal looking venture that says, is this going to be more pain in the butt than it's worth? Sometimes the best deals you do are the deals that you say no to, because the headache factor is going to be too high. I had to learn this over the course of being a real estate investor and a business guy for years, that this actually matters. Headache factor. You've got to make enough margin. It's got to be simple enough, or the headache factor can rise. It might look fun, it might look profitable, it might look interesting, it might be a passion of yours, but if the headache factor is high, it's going to get scrubbed off my list. And finally, we're going to move down to lifestyle. It has to produce the lifestyle that you, I, anybody wants, right? If answering the question, volume or margin, doesn't lead to the result ultimately that you want, why are you in business? Why are you a real estate investor? The answer is really simple. It's because you want some result in your life. You want a different, better, improved lifestyle than without it, or you wouldn't do it. You're doing it for some objective, some reason. There's a result that you want out of any business, any investment, any real estate that you do. It all leads to lifestyle. So you have to define your lifestyle and decide what is it that you want out of life and lifestyle, and then evaluate these 8 things and see if it makes sense to do. Now, let's go back and let's answer this question. What's better, volume or margin? I'm going to tell you this. I always believe when it comes down to the root that margin trumps volume. You've got to make enough money. However, if I cannot scale that margin, I'm not interested in it. See, scale is the volume part. Can I scale it? So is it simple enough? Can I build a system around it? Can I scale it? Can I get volume out of it? Because what happens if you can't scale it, you end up on the cycle that too many real estate investors end up on. And that cycle is this: feast, famine, feast, famine, a proverbial up and down. It's just the roller coaster. If all you ever do is chase margin, you're going to chase the roller coaster, because here's what happens. If you can't produce the high margin deal consistently enough, you make money, you consume it. You make money, you consume it. And hopefully you have systems in place and a market condition and the skills of you and your team that produce those results on a consistent enough basis. So yes, I'm a big believer that margin trumps volume. However, if I can't produce the volume out of the attached margin, I'm not interested, because I don't want to be on a roller coaster. I've been there, I've done that. This is how I learned this stuff. And here's the thing. What the market is doing today doesn't mean that that's what the market is going to be doing in another month, in another year, in another 2 years. And so I saw it. In the last crash, I saw real estate investors that were high on the horse lose everything because all they did was chase margin. They didn't understand how to create consistency. So margin trumps volume, but I will not chase volume if I cannot produce. I will not chase margin if I cannot produce the volume. So that's my answer to this whole question, what's better, volume or margin? There you have it. This is Rob Swanson. See ya.